Good morning. Welcome to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. Ex-runner Deborah, good to see you already here. Welcome. Today, I actually have a lot of demos that I want to show you later on, but that's like kind of in the Game of the Week section at the end. A lot of cool stuff coming out. Don't let anyone tell you gaming's dead. AAA gaming probably kind of is dead, but over in there's still smaller, hungrier people out there that don't have to deal with HR departments full of fat women. So that's one thing. It's funny. I'm not going to go over it today, but there was an article about Nier Automata's developer Yoko Haru, I think, was kind of lamenting that there's not enough weird people in gaming anymore. And it really kind of strikes me as kind of an indicator of the sort of corporate HR class that's sort of taking over gaming, because those are the first people to go. The weird guys that, just can't fit into that sort of corporate culture. They're a little bit, off center, but they have really cool ideas and they get stuff done. But, when you might offend a woman, or, you can't, you don't do well in like the 3 hours of office meetings that they have every freaking single day. You think it's stupid and it's dumb. You're probably not going to make it in that sort of environment. But so sucks for them, but hopefully they're out there still making games somewhere. Maybe we're in a smaller scene. We actually have some weird games in the demo, so look forward to that. But let's go over some of the newest mainstream games, and of course Nintendo Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct.
When the world
some weird singing.
Cool,
I'm not gonna go over this. Let's see. So Donkey Kong. Anyone look at this and think of Wreck-It Ralph? The way he sort of punches down. It reminds me of the end of Wreck-It Ralph. A lot of people are comparing this Donkey Kong to Wreck-It Ralph. So this is their big reveal. I love how expressive Donkey Kong is. If you followed my channel, though, this wasn't a surprise. It was revealed on Twitter by I think some I forget what foreign Twitter. Was it Italy or something? One of the Nintendos of a third, maybe not a third world country, but second world country, kind of revealed Pauline already on one of the banners. So this wasn't as much of a. For the people in the know, this wasn't much of a surprise. So basically, Pauline is going to be a sort of sidekick as they go into this sort of it's kind of big dumb animal with this sort of a gentle girl. It's a common trope. A lot of people have mentioned Wreck-It Ralph or Monsters Incorporated. With Sully and Boo. Was that the name of the girl? Or there was another one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's like I said, common trope. It seems to work. It seems like it's going to work for the
underground world, where the scenery changes the deeper you go.
I really like the. Got a lot. It's got a great aesthetic. It's really weird.
So spectacular
I like it.
That it's hard to believe you're underground.
Giant watermelon. It reminds me a bit of Splatoon, to be honest, in some of these visuals.
DK can
because
run.
Splatoon is a little more post-apocalyptic, but it has a lot of weird stuff.
And climb through each environment. Using his incredible physical prowess, you can freely move in any direction.
Movement looks
but that's
really nice.
not all.
That looks like a lot of
Almost
fun.
anything in your path, you
and
can
this,
smash.
This is what I think is going to make it really
crash.
Cool. They can just grab stuff and smash through it. It's
bash.
really satisfying. Kind of similar to Minecraft
You can
in a way.
even do this
like
to
Super
a massive
Minecraft.
rock formation.
And there he is, again. You could just sculpt a giant penis, which I assume is what the first thing someone's going to do on Twitter.
If you want.
Who knows?
As
Or,
you
you
barrel
know,
through
who
obstacles in your
knows
path,
what they're going to do.
You'll also collect golden bananas.
That's how you
known
give
as
people creativity.
Bananium
They,
gems.
they have a lot of fun with it.
More on those later.
And now he just breaks banana gems and then just eats them. That's crazy.
Let's take a look at some of the things this Kong can do. Punch.
He can punch, and then like they just go over like all his moves, his basic moves. He can roll. He can grab stuff.
Away.
I like the idea that you can like surf. This looks like a lot of fun. Just grab a rock and then surf.
Smaller enemies to
crush
knock them
stuff.
away.
The way you can dispatch a lot of different enemies, you have a lot of different ways to kill them. I think is a lot of fun. It's really important for like these games that are a little more open, and you're doing a lot of traveling. Being able to like find creative ways to kill enemies is, I think, a good way to keep things interesting while you do this.
Music. The power of Pauline's singing will help show you the way. It can also remove these strange seals that someone left behind.
Oh, someone.
You never know what you'll discover in the underground. Layers of the underground world are
And then
venturing
go over
said to
more about
possess
it.
ancient
So like you get transformations in Bonanza.
power,
So
even
he
harder.
turns into like this
Terrain
giant.
poses
You go
no problem.
Hulk mode.
Plow
Here,
through
which
the
has
world
got-
and
looks like a
smash
lot of
as much
fun.
as possible with the powerful Kong Bonanza. Plus,
It's like a
DK can
giant
transform
shockwave.
into a zebra.
Gosh,
He's
go
as
into a
speedy
zebra
as
where
he
he's
is
faster,
striped.
and then he can
flying
fly
ostrich.
as an ostrich. Looks like a lot of fun. You could switch
That's
between
right.
them.
It's
on the
Ostrich
fly.
Bonanza.
It's banana.
Use them as you
banana
adventure to the planet core.
The fact that you can like switch with this stuff
Standing
is
in our
pretty
hero's way is the Void Company, the mightiest mining operation
the
both above ground
cool.
and
Antagonist
below.
of this. I really like the color schemes they're going for on this. It's really like gaudy and kind of I don't want to say ugly, but you know it is. It kind of it's a little bit grating, which I think works for villains.
Grumpy Kong works to create gigantic corporate soldiers. Poppy Kong is responsible for subterranean info gathering, while Void Kong is in charge of the whole company. This nefarious crew is responsible for the banana-stealing maelstrom on Ingot Isle. DK and his pals will come face. Found throughout
So,
the
yeah.
underground world are golden your adventure.
Challenge, of course, runs, which is similar to what this looks like is
Side-scrolling stages,
Odyssey,
and
very much.
there are plenty of ruins
Of course,
to
it has
discover.
like sort of like
so
classic
give them a
2D. Well, I think Mario did that too.
stat
Let's
of
go
dunk
points.
to detect are shaped like
So they're
swords
giving
of
like they're even
which
like
could
adding in
lead
a
to
little bit
new
of RPG
discoveries.
mechanics to the game.
surprisingly called gold.
Not surprised. Cold. Yeah, there we go.
Just even
Fossils.
change up your suit.
You can change
No look
your
is too
stuff
much for
that
Donkey Kong.
it actually gives you some sort of buff, I guess.
Buried in
Yeah,
the
the
ground.
minecarts. I don't know if some of their challenge courses can be pretty tough, and like usually, I assume this game's gonna be fairly easy. But some of the optional stuff, like Mario Sunshine or even like Mario Odyssey, some of the optional stuff tends to be pretty
Crack
tough.
it open and also see
So
which
I'm hoping there'll
carve out
be
a
some
space
really,
and enjoy a
challenging
getaway where you can recover
things.
in bed.
You can make your own house. I don't know why is this always a thing in every game now? You have it in Zelda, you have it here. I'm surprised there wasn't a Mario. Maybe there is. I guess people just like doing this. They're like, yeah, let's throw it in. We already got like the code for it, kind of. So let's just do it. I got collectible
You might
discs,
even find new discs when defeating enemies.
soundtracks. Got the DK rap right now.
When it comes to moving between layers, subterranean eels
You have
have
fast
your
travel
back.
in it. Sweet fast travel.
You visited, no need to worry.
No, it's
You
always
can
something I always have mixed feelings about.
always teleport with
Teleport
You
there?
can teleport.
angle and
Gotta
adjust
have a
other
cute
settings to
photo
switch your
mode.
into controller Vocal co-op play.
Co-op
As
play.
Pauline, you can unleash
This is
vocal
interesting.
blasts using
I
Joy-Con
think that could be
2
fun when you're
mouse
playing with
controls.
somebody else.
You can
Though
also
it
copy
seems
the
like
material
way
of
too
nearby
easy
terrain to give your vocals even more
when you have
texture.
someone assisting you. But you know, for like
By
couch
working
co-op,
together,
I
even
doubt
tough
people
enemies
are
don't stand a chance.
are trying to have like a super hard experience. You know, whether playing, you know, some guy playing with his kid or something. They're not going to. They're not going to care too much that they made the game a lot easier.
They can join on their own system.
You can play without the game, which is very cool. If you just connect 2 switches and it works. I was surprised it works with the Switch.
Plus, you can play online
don't know how
between Nintendo Switch 2
good the
systems
performance
using Game
is.
Share
You got
via
game share.
Chat.
This is a cool co-op feature, which I mean, in the future, I
If
think
you
is
need
going to
a
be a
little help
really
with all
good
the-
sign for Switch if they're going to do stuff like this. If they make this, you know, an in-game feature that they want to push on their mainline games, I could see this being a lot of fun.
Mode is the
Oh, this was a
systems using Game Share via
this was
Game
a
Chat.
tragedy, but I can see why they add it. Hold on, let's see. What's the
If you
assist
need a little
mode
help
here?
with all the platforming action, Assist Mode is
Assist
the way to
mode.
play.
Good
It
lord!
guides you in the right direction,
Wow, it just
halves the damage you receive,
Oh.
and more. Assist Mode supports you in your adventure to be the best Kong you can be.
easy mode.
Outside of the main game,
Goodness.
there's a mode where you can carve stone using mouse
This is another thing. Like, I don't know if you want to call it scope creeps, and since I've actually, you know, seems like they completed the game.
controls called DK.
Oh, but it doesn't work on Switch. I assume it does work on Switch OLED. At least the assist thing works.
Artist.
But the fact that they added
Rotate
like
to
this
paint.
like 3D painter in there for like no, I don't know what the purpose of adding
Carved
this in
material.
other than just some fun. More like
Or
a
add
sissy
some
mode.
back
Yeah,
on.
I could do a John Watts. I
You
agree.
can even change the lighting and add delectable banana effects.
There we go.
Give it a try and sculpt to
Mario.
your heart's content.
Pizza. Parakeet. Wow. I don't know why they added this in. But cool, I guess.
This game also supports amiibo accessories. A
It's
new Donkey Kong
whoa.
and Pauline
Apparently, this is $30 for this amiibo. That's pretty nuts, in my opinion.
amiibo figure is also on the way. Scanning it unlocks Pauline's
You get the diva dress, which, like, I would assume this was an unlockable in the game. You know, this is the classic Pauline dress, but no.
Diva
You have to
dress.
pay $30 to unlock this.
By scanning the Donkey Kong series amiibo
Kind of
shown
annoying.
here, gold Kong tiles with explosive power
If you could see, there's Diddy and Dixie in the
Will
background
appear.
with Rambi. So some classics.
every other amiibo released.
Matt, can I get? No, you can't get the game for the Switch OLED. It's just that share mode that works on that works with it. It's a Switch 2
up to
game.
this point is also compatible. If you
And they have this weird. I don't know about the singing thing. I guess it's all right, but it's not really my taste.
I love to sing more than anything.
His dopey smile. I don't know if Pauline's gonna like. I guess it adds like an element of gentleness.
Maybe
The
if we
Donkey
get to
Kong,
the
but-
surface, you and me, we can make
It might make it might make it a little bit too. It depends on how sweet it is. I don't really like the vocals with the music.
join the powerful Donkey Kong and the
But overall, looks a really fun thing. Donkey Kong Bonanza, July 17th. Looking forward to it. Definitely gonna play it and see it. The fuck are amiibos? I hate this timeline. They're Nintendo found a way to like sell people little statues because people love to collect stuff. And you know, instead of getting pass keys, they should just make them amiibos instead. Like here's our new pass key amiibo. But again, that thing probably doesn't cost like $0 to make. The pass key probably, that whole like case probably costs like 10 cents to make in like some Chinese factory, and they're gonna pay they're gonna charge you $50 for it. So Exactly. Boom. Just boop. Put on your little statue. You get some DLC. You can sell people DLC in the form of a small plastic statue, and people don't complain as much because they got a little statue. Like Funko Pop. I kind of like it, I guess. Yeah. Why not? I think they were fairly collectible, but I guess people just, I think that, I don't know if they overprinted them or they're still worth some money, but when they first came out, they were hard to get. So it was people reselling and stuff. It was interesting. So this is Pauline, the big reveal. She's confirmed 13 years old. I don't know why that's relevant, but it also shows it's also kind of weird on the timeline since Pauline's an adult in Odyssey. I don't know if it's the same world. Timeline stuff is usually kind of dumb to even worry about. Obviously, her being like a kid kind of functions for the trope of of Donkey Kong, kind of being the sort of muscle to help her out while he helps himself. You know, it's sort of like buddy, almost like a buddy movie. Where, you know, the Beast, Beauty. Well, not really Beauty and the Beast, but kind of similar. You know. And the other thing is, this is only 8.5 gigabytes, which, you know, compared to like Tears of the Kingdom at 16, Mario Kart World at 21.92. It's interesting that it's so small, and I don't know if that's going to be the only thing on it. I assume it is a full game. That's kind of small, but maybe, you know, based on the worlds, there's not a whole lot there. You know, the worlds themselves aren't gigantic open worlds. It's just stages. So there's probably a lot of ways they can keep it, keep it small.
Roll forward.
The other thing about this kind of makes me wonder if Mario is holding Donkey Kong, or, you know, holding Nintendo back in a way.
Send lighter objects.
Where you look at because I mean, this is essentially what, you know, a 3D Mario game would be. It looks very similar to Odyssey, the comparison to it. But the fact that they're using Donkey Kong instead gives them a lot of different options to do things with, like, especially like the destructible terrain is really cool.
When your hands are occupied.
It gives you definitely a different
grab a chunk of terrain,
different gameplay options, the way you can tear it off and just throw it.
Turnips to find items.
It's really cool, and I think the fact that Nintendo's kind of going away, I don't know if they're probably still going to have a 3D Mario game eventually, but that they're doing something different with Donkey Kong, I think thematically gives them a lot more freedom to do something different. Maybe with the Mario Odyssey, they had like the hat stuff that they added in. Because just how many times could you make a 3D Mario game about, you know, running and jumping on stuff? Expanding like their cast of characters definitely gives them a lot of different stuff to do. I guess the only issue is with Mario sort of being the franchise, does, you know, does a Donkey Kong mainline game not work? Well, this is cool, the way that you can like make your own stuff. Does this not have the same popularity as a Mario game? Can this achieve the same stuff, same popularity? It remains to be seen. I hope it does do well, or as well as a Mario game, because maybe this allows Nintendo to do some more experimenting with their sort of 3D games.
It can also remove these strange seals that someone left behind.
Like I said, it looks a lot like a 3D Mario game, but because it's Donkey Kong, they've got some unique gameplay mechanics that you wouldn't normally see in a Mario game, which I like. So I'm looking forward to this. It's probably not going to be super difficult. It's not going to be the hardest game in the world, but it should be well put together. Lots of great music and pretty fun, and hopefully the challenge stages are going to be challenging, to put it simply, I guess. Because a lot of times this game is going gonna be super easy.
You're not limited to when or where you transform, and you can swap between
Like
transformations.
some of this
So
stuff
get
looks really
creative
cool. The way
and
it
use them as you
forms a
adventure
rainbow
into the plan
bridge, and you
core.
can grab onto the bridge and fly up. But the way Nintendo's kind of gone in the direction of like there's a lot of freedom of movement, freedom in like what you can do and solve puzzles. I like that. I think it's in a way it's a break from tradition, but it's fun. You know, Echoes of Wisdom had a lot of freedom in how you solve puzzles.
Standing in our hero's way
I like it.
is the Void
I think it's
Company.
I think it's a
The
good direction. I don't know if
mightiest
it's necessarily better than having like really tight, tight puzzles, tight controls, and making it challenging. But with what Nintendo is, they want to make it, as open as possible with as many people as possible. Having these sort of open, creative puzzle solving, I think keeps it, for at least for me, it keeps it a lot more interesting.
Subterranean info gathering.
While I just sort of breeze through the game, I can find different ways to enjoy myself. So let's move on. Let's move on from Donkey Kong. It looks like fun. Looks like fun. I'm definitely gonna buy it. Amiibo, $30 for this. It seems ridiculous, but that's what it is. This was funny. I guess there was a little bit of confusion with some London advertisers as they put Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Switch 2 edition out now. Apparently, it's not, but kind of makes you wonder if like this was originally supposed to be Metroid Prime's release date. Maybe at some point something got delayed or confused, and they went with something else. Right now, I feel like they've got to space this stuff out. Right now, Mario Kart World's their big release. $30 for Paul. Someone probably does think that, honestly. I mean, she is barefoot, isn't she? That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Those Japanese, you can't trust them. But this is out. So they got to space these things out between Mario Kart World, you got Donkey Kong. I assume Prime's going to come somewhere after Donkey Kong Bonanza. So like they got like consistent sort of like first party releases. Pokemon's going to be in there somewhere before the end of year. So they do have a pretty, by Christmas time, they're going to have a pretty solid, at least start to their first party library. I skipped over this. This was nearly 3,000 Switch 2 units were stolen out of a truck headed to GameStop. Total loss is 1.4 million. Damn. So 3,000 people just robbing a truck, or the person driving the truck is helping them out. 1.4 mil. That's quite a payday. I like how they use Wario as the. I don't think the guy that stole this stuff looked like Wario. I don't know. That's just me, though, That's just me. But Nintendo, speaking of thieves, Nintendo is banning Switch 2 consoles that use MIG switch, even those that are only using their own dumped games. So it appears that Nintendo's developed a new way to detect the device. And like I mentioned Electric Underground before, but he did a Switch review. And when he said that all the innovation on the Switch 2 is just anti-piracy measures, that's where they put like all of their R&D into, is how to prevent piracy. I think he was right on the money. The Switch 2 is enhanced graphics and enhanced anti-piracy from Nintendo, which is just pathetic, honestly. But as you get a Game Pass key, they give you Game Pass keys with not even a game on it. At the same time, because the big Switch, you can use it to pirate games, but you can also load your own games and play them that way too. So it's not necessarily piracy, a piracy device, but apparently they can detect it and ban you. So that's great. Just brick your Switch. If you be careful using the big Switch, because not looking good. Nintendo's really tried to step up their game as much as possible to make sure you can only spend money through them. The only way you can enjoy video games is by giving them money. This was kind of funny, but so this Nintendo guy said the SNES mouse works on Switch 2. Work is doing a lot of work here. apparently it can work, but holy smokes. Barely. Yeah, they do, John, well, they do the right to fight piracy, 100%. The level of which Nintendo's going to prevent piracy seems a little bit crazy. Where, they have a way to, I think it's like even like built in the hardware to prevent people from like loading stuff on their systems. It's pretty crazy to the point where like you buy the console, but you can't really do a lot with it. In terms of like, at what point, like, is it your machine that you can do what you want? Or does the second you try and do anything that the buyer, the developer decides you can't do, then they get to brick your Switch and render it your $500 machine inoperable. It's I think that's something that can be debated. So it kind of works. It's a fun thing, but it really does not work all that well. I guess you can use. You bought in Japan the SNES mouse. I guess there's this RalphNet SNES adapter set to mouse mode. So hopefully you can actually use a real mouse on a Nintendo device. That would be fun. Because right now the sort of like Switch Joy-Con mouse looks awful. I don't know why you'd want it. What is that? It does use a ball. That's the old mice back when they had balls instead of like the optic then the optic deals, the optic laser or whatever they use for the new stuff. Hey, good morning, Silver Bishop. Good to see you. And this was an interesting report. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers at Switch 2 launch. Viva Game Business. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates, despite strong hardware sales. So Switch, you've seen it, sold like 3.5 million at this point copies. So looks doing amazing in terms of sales on the hardware front. But on the software front, especially for like third-party games, not doing well. 60% of physical sales were first-party in the U.S., not including Mario Kart World bundles. And this physical sales stat, remember, like a lot of third-party right now is passkeys. And I do not know if the physical market, the guys that buy physical games, really want passkeys. I don't know if it remains to be seen if they'll accept that stuff. I think most physical buyers are not going to like that stuff. So I can see why this might be low. Cyberpunk 2077 was the best third-party game. Sega was the third best-selling publisher on the Switch 2 at launch. Over 80% of Switch 2 software sales came from physical retailers, which is good to see. Of Switch, over 80%. Wow. Do they count the Mario Kart World bundle in that? I'm not sure, but I assume a lot of that stuff, a lot of 80% was people like buying bundles or like, hey, I'm buying it from Walmart. I pre-ordered it from Walmart or Target or GameStop, so I'm also buying some games with it. I can see how that makes sense. But the third party didn't do well. Some people were wondering, like, hey, does this mean third party is just not going to do well on the Switch 2? Personally, I mean, it's possible, but I think it's just the fact that all the third-party games were like 1 to 2 year old third-party games that already came out on Sony, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. They've been out forever. It's like, oh, Street Fighter 6. Wow, this brand new game. Can't wait to buy that for the Switch 2 for some reason. So you had so many options to play all these third-party games before the Switch 2 came out. I don't know how many people there were left that like, oh, I just got to play it on the Switch 2, I can see why they were low, and I think that's the reason why they're low, but we'll see. Once some third-party games start coming out, brand new, day and date on the Switch 2, we'll see how they do. I don't think this is an issue for third-party yet, considering just how strong Switch 2 sales were. Like, the Switch 2 remains on track to outsell the Switch then it's going to be so big that third party just cannot ignore it. It's going to be it's going to have huge third party support if the sales are good. I think that's just, it's impossible to ignore if you have like a user base of like 100 million systems sold. You're not going to ignore it. You have to try and hit that market. Hey, Silver Bishop, good to see you. Let's move on though. Shoot, we're getting pretty quick. I mean, this is just the more this guy speaks that Harjaro, whatever he's called, I forget what his name is. He's a former exec. Yeah, Suhei Yoshida. I've seen he's been doing a ton of media right now, ever since like maybe he's trying to do his own podcast, or maybe just likes talking about video games. But he's like saying, "Oh, they should." I'm hoping people that like Nintendo will go to a more mature system, and people were roasting him for that because Sony lately has just been censoring the crap out of all their games. You censor more than half the shit you put out. They were censoring Stellar Blade, for Christ's sake, which people deny, but 100% they were censoring a lot of those outfits to make sure it. I assume for China or some other market, but to call PlayStation a mature system at this point seems laughable. Speaking of Stellar Blade, they sold over 3 million copies, doing extremely well, especially with the PC port picking up a lot of the Asian markets, like Chinese. I think are primarily like PC players, and they are rewarding their. This is something I'm seeing a lot with a lot of developers, like, hey, we just bought a ton of Switches for you guys, which I guess is good advertisement. You know, if you want to attract talent, like, hey, if your game does well, we give you a bunch of benefits. It looks good. It looks good for the company. Good to see that they do well on sales. They get rewarded with Switches and PlayStation 5s. And of course, you want the people making your games to, play video games, so they get an idea of what else is out there. So it's a smart move. And apparently they're also making a Switch 2 port. So that might eventually be coming maybe next year or so. Interesting to be seen. Another interesting move that happened, Nexus Mods, which is known for being incredibly liberal. They've been banning all sorts of mods, like, hey, you remove like the gay options in a game, you get banned from Nexus Mods. Famously, there was a mod that replaced all the gay pride flags in Spider-Man 2 with just American flags, and he got banned from that. That was like the big story that sort of started it out, and it hasn't gotten better. Where like if you try to make a mod to remove all like the forced inclusion that they put in the game, you get banned. But Nexus Mods has been acquired by Chosen. What a name for a company focused on growth and monetization of gaming startups. Chosen states that nothing fundamentally will change, and we all know that these acquisitions can slowly shift priorities over time. So this P-Rat Nation's worried that Nexus Mod could introduce a paywall for mods or premium features. I could definitely see that happening. My hope would be that they'd fire a bunch of like the liberal moderators, or get rid of a bunch of liberal moderators and be a little more open to allowing a variety of different mods, like whatever you like. Assuming they're not like illegal, I think that'd be pretty nice. But that remains to be seen. I don't think there's going to be any sort of like Elon level change where some base dude buys it up and said, we're getting rid of this shit. We're firing 90% of our mod team, and we're going to let people have fun. We're going to let creativity win the day. It doesn't look like this is going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see. Things could change, especially if they realize that, hey, a lot of this stuff's really unpopular. A lot of this trans stuff and not allowing people to play, use their own mods. This is definitely their mod policy of like getting rid of, like when Skyrim, they tried to first put out, I guess it was Oblivion. they first tried to put out, something got removed, Type 1 and Type 2, and then that got banned. And they eventually sort of allowed a different one. They're realizing at this point that this is just opening up competitors for them. When you're not going to let the certain mods on that people want based on, sort of ideologies, it definitely opens the door for competition. Shoot. We got a lot of stuff. Let me skip over this because I want to get to the demos. This was an interesting story. So this is a game developer. Studio Camellia shuts down a year after raising 300,000 euros. I assume this is euros. Correct me if I'm wrong, European dudes. On Kickstarter to fund JRPG. So the studio now shelved this Azara Radiant Echoes. Became one of the most backed Kickstarter projects of 2024. It closes its doors. It raised almost $347,000 to finance the JRPG. The French studio broke the news in an update to backers and explained it has been unable to secure the necessary funding to keep the project afloat. So in less than a year, they managed to run through $300,000. But essentially what that's a euro symbol. Okay, thank you. Essentially what happened is they needed the 300,000, which originally I think they asked for 200,000. So they blew through what their initial stuff was supposed to raise. But what they did here is they used the 300,000 to kind of make a demo, and then use that demo to be go to backers, major backers, and say hey, give us another give us $1 million or $2 million. We need X amount of money to complete the project. We already got something here. Here's the concept. But apparently they were not able to do that, and thus the game dies. Which kind of makes you think, what is Kickstarter doing? What is Kickstarter for? The idea, you think for Kickstarter was, we need this much money to complete the project. And here you go. But I guess that was never the reality with, I don't know if they advertised it as we need 300,000, or what they were initially asking for. Here is, where was it? I just saw it. Originally they wanted 100,000 euros, but they breezed past the milestone. So they got 3 times what they asked for. Or at least, 2 times. Is that how it works? 2 times? Well, I guess not. They made 300,000 of what they compared to this. So just a huge amount of money of what they originally planned, but then they struggled to secure additional funds during subsequent meetings with potential partners at Tokyo Game Show, DICE, and other industry events. So clearly this project looks like it was mismanaged. When you get triple what you planned to have, and you still can't get the job done, or get financing. Did they really explain that to people? I kind of wonder. But they've entered liquidation in 2025. It seems like whoever mismanagement, or the owners got greedy and got in their head. It's been so popular. Look how many backers we've got. It's definitely going to be a success, and they just couldn't manage it. But this one of the funny things about it is this is from their site. This is what their team prioritizes. Player-centric. Always put the player's joy at the heart of our decision. That sounds pretty good. Kindness. Oh, very important. Treat people with respect, empathy, and fairness. Diversity. Be a reflection of society in both our team composition and our games. Guess that didn't work out for them. Team spirit. Do what's good for the project and the team. I guess spend too much money and go bankrupt was what was good for them. You'll fund it? Right on. Secure the do you know some rich people, Nuke, that would get some money to this, to Azara Radiant Echoes? Yeah, though it really does make you wonder. Like Kickstarter, I don't know, man. Including a handful of people dropped 800 euros on a premium pledge. They are not getting it back. They are not getting that money back. They're not getting it back with Kickstarter. It is like an investment. You get to find out what it's like to be an investor. Now, as this project that looked really good at the start, now just flops, unable to get to the finish line. And when, so it was last year too, 2024. They got 300,000 in 2024, and in 2025 they're bankrupt. That's they blew through $800,000 in that time. Clearly, the people that made this need to. I feel like they should be in jail somehow, but I guess that's not how it works. Is there something's up with that? Something is definitely up. How do you blow through that much money? Unless you're paying yourself $100,000 or something like that. That is. Let's move on. Let's move on to some games that will be completed. How about we do that? It's time for some demos, baby. So this is one that I've been looking forward to. Not because it's HoloLive, but because it's made by Galaxy Trails. I like the games that they've done. The one of this anime opening reminds me of the old Flash days. 2002 cringe anime Flash stuff. If I was a teenager, I'd think this is like the coolest thing in the world. Probably. Now I'm like, gosh, this is... I don't know why you'd include this. This does not look as good as the actual art in game. Has nothing to do with it, Aaron. Nothing to do with it. Whoa. Chrono Gear, Warden of Time. So this is like platformer. If you haven't played Freedom Planet, it's like a Sonic-esque, almost like a Sonic fan game. But I think they did a better job than what Sonic's been able to do lately with their 2D games. I like a lot of movement options, and I'm still trying to learn it. It seems I can do a lot of... What I love about Galaxy Trails games is like the movement is like janky enough that if you put some time into it, you can do some really weird stuff. And I like that weirdness, like the way you can... Yeah, the sprite art's pretty solid, though. Like the HoloLive tie-in to this have like such weird characters, like... The enemies are based off different HoloLive members, like fans. So the tie-in, I think in some ways hurts it in terms of the aesthetic design. But overall, it looks like the engine's intact, where you can do a lot of like weird movement, quick movement. I sped run Freedom Planet 1 a bit, and it was a lot of fun. Just overall, the movement in the game is just really good. It feels good if you master it. And this is another stage they have. Again, all of this looks very similar to Freedom Planet 2 if you played it. The fact that she has like two different options where she can slow down time around her, and then she can also speed up time to move faster, I think is a cool concept for a character. So you have two gauges that you can manage. And they're not exclusive to each other, but you can only have one active at a time. So deciding how you use those gauges could be an interesting gameplay thing. I'm mostly interested in like the movement itself. Like here you have to like slow down these doors that are closing and get up. That works really well. So I do have a sense, like just from fighting this boss, that it's going to be easier than Freedom Planet 2 was. Freedom Planet 2 had fairly challenging bosses in it, and it seems like they realized that the sort of normal HoloLive player isn't going to be as into a challenge like this, I can't wait to play my favorite Hololive character. I think you can only play as Crony. But like I mentioned before with that Kabuki Zero game, I think for smaller developers, it's like a good way to just get instant name recognition attached to your game. You have like an audience. I mean, in terms of like advertising your audience, it's a good way to go to get your name out there. Like, you'll have a streamer that probably has 10,000 people. I'm making Gura Gura. You have a streamer that has like tens of thousands of people watching their stuff, playing the game, and it's based off Hololive characters. So you just instant free advertising with this game. And when I looked, especially like with the demos that are going on, so this is a game I quite enjoyed it. The demo, I'm looking forward to it. It seems like I said that same engine I like from Freedom Planet 2 is intact in this, so it should be a lot of fun to at least play through, try and speed run. Hopefully, add a bunch of achievements in there to encourage people to do that. But when you look at, if you go to Next Fest on the Steam page, which is where a lot of these demos are, you can see just like I think what they even say, it's like thousands of demos, and they're serious. There seriously is thousands of demos on right now. It's pretty wild, and it makes you wonder just how, just looking at all the demos, how do you stand out in just a sea of video games? There's just so many of these demos and games out. How do you get noticed? It seems incredibly daunting as like just looking on the outside of it. I'm like, how do you even get your stuff looked at, get people to try it? And hey, one way to do it is you tie into these franchises. This Holo Indies, I think a pretty good idea from Hololive Recover Corporation. Like, hey, we can give our people fun games to play and stream. We can also get a percentage as these indie developers that are fans of Hololive develop games for us, and of course, the developers themselves have a way to get noticed, get their name, get a few more eyes on their product, build some hype around it. So it could be a win-win. This was a game. This is Cleared Hot. This was a game I don't normally. They said the title. They said the title in the game, which is always a nice touch. I wasn't expecting to. This is a game. It isn't a game I normally play. Is what I'm trying to say. But I quite enjoyed it. So it seems like a lot of fun. It's a twin stick shooter. I think you probably play with mouse, but I played with a controller. That's a lot of fun. You have these. You have this hook that you can use to pick up ammo, but you can also grab terrain and objects and use that to kill enemies too. Like some of the smaller enemies, you can just grab a storage container and smash them with it, or you can grab the enemies themselves, like these guys, pick them up and then drop them. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of fun physics going on. It's got a good style to it. This is the initial opening. It's almost a swerve because this is the initial opening sequence. We're flying this cool attack helicopter, and then as it goes down, he disobeys orders. He disobeys his orders to has to go.
Coming, Travis. You need to get out of there now. Enemy jet approaching. Enemy what? Get out of there.
Mondo, the voice acting is makes me sing.
Love me some HP.
So you end up crashing, and then you get this smaller, wimpier helicopter, but it seems like something that you sort of you're building up to. Like he wakes up, 30, 34 years later, you know, is like this washed up guy, you know. You don't quite know what happened after he crashed. And I guess you find out as the story goes. It's an interesting hook. Like, will he get, you know, back in the saddle and redeem himself? It seems like a cool story. The voice acting. But, you know, it's like a team of like, and I think it's all men that are developing it. At least that's what they, before on like this, have this like Zoom picture of the devs, and it's all like guys. So it's probably like a smaller company doing what they can. But the game concept seemed really cool, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. So it was like one of those pleasant surprises when you try out a game that you're not sure of. It was good. And this game is something else. This game's wild. This is Momo Crash. It's one of the things that stand out during the demo. This is a rhythm game based on thighs, it would seem. Where you have to capture souls with your thighs, apparently. So, as they come in, you smash them with your thighs. I don't know if those are developed by Japanese people, but it seems to at least kind of really carry the spirit of a Japanese game. And then you have to sort of knee these viruses away. It seems pretty simple. I was joking with Gov that this game was made for him, and then you press and hold A to capture kittens on your thigh. So, very interesting concept for a game. I can definitely see this being a game that a lot of streamers enjoy playing, as it's weird enough where you can get the sort of spectacle of it. One of the downsides, it seems, of this game, and like, is that it seems like it uses all. I don't think there's any licensed music in this game. Yes, as you said. So it's all like open. What's the name for it? What's the name for a non-copyrighted music? I forget what it's called. But that's the Momo Crash. So I don't think there's any licensed music in it yet. I don't know if there's like DLC or custom maps. I can't wait to play this in public. Go ahead. But interesting game. It's a weird. Probably won't buy this because rhythm games aren't really my thing. But I like the weirdness of it. It's definitely bizarre enough. I like the fact that there's like we mentioned earlier in the thing, and there's no weird people left at companies. This was definitely made by somebody weird, for sure. Royalty free, yeah, or like what's the name for like open source, public use, or whatever it's called. You know, it's public domain. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's all like public domain type of music. That's in this stuff. So, which, you know, it could have a good library, but, you know, you're not going to have anything licensed, which can be a downside. The speaker guy on public transport for this. Toro. This is called. I need to check. Yeah, public domain. That's the word I was looking for. This is called. I need to bring up Oka the Exiled. And this is looks like a fun, if you wanted a Metroidvania, which I'm not looking for at the moment, but if you wanted a fun, slower paced Metroidvania, this has got nice sprite artwork, looks pretty cool, and I like the chill music. It seems really well put together. There's a lot to explore. To me, like when I was playing it, I was just like, it seems like a little too slow paced. I'm just not into this type of game right now. This is one of the boss. I think it's more of a mini boss, hopefully, because it only has 2 attacks. One where someone's pigs. The other one where it smashes the ground, you just jump over it. So not super challenging, but I didn't really get to a boss in this demo. I just stopped after like half an hour. I was going to give to these demos like 30 minutes. And it does seem like it's solid built. The controls are solid. Everything seemed to work well. The graphics and the sprite work are well done. Everything about the game seems competently done. I didn't get the same impression as I did with that sort of like Gal Guardians, that it was a little bit cheap. And there's, stuff like upgrades and I'm sure discoverable areas that you can get. So it seems like a solid Metroidvania game if you want something like that. I think it'll definitely scratch the itch. I just personally don't want to put in like 20 or 30 hours into a game like this at the moment. There's just too many other things I want to do. But it was made a decent impression on me. The next one, better stop this. I like the sort of top-down shoot-'em-ups, but I did not like Blast Rush LLC. I just don't get the concept of the game. It seems like you have like a time and you have to like kill score as high as possible in this, like based on score, and then at some point you get like these time slowdown upgrades. So I didn't exactly understand what you're supposed to do in this demo, but I didn't like the amount of there's not a lot going on here in terms of bullets. Like there's downtime in between these waves. Like I said, if you get too close, you have these slowdowns. I guess you're supposed to use a slowdown to kill as many enemies as possible. But there's also this sort of like gust meter when you get close and you dodge to the side. I didn't quite get it. For me, when I play this, I was like, it's not really my thing. And like I said, I like these sort of arcade shooter type of games. This one just didn't miss the mark for me. This, though, I quite like. This is called Blaze of Storm. It's made by someone that isn't an English speaker, but it has this cool. I don't know, do you call this 8-bit art style or 16-bit? A cool sprite style. Almost a little too simplistic in some ways, but it plays really well. It's got more of a classic design I enjoy. A lot of the stuff is destructible, and you can block a lot of it with these different upgrades, like homing, like the satellite blocks, projectiles. There's a lot there. It almost seemed too easy playing the game. So hopefully there will be more difficulty settings. That's a game I'd play like it was like $15, $12. Like I said, the graphic style is very simplistic. I don't know if they're going to change that at all. I don't think it is. I've been following the guy that's developing this on Twitter. I think it's like one person doing it. So like for one guy, this looks really good. It looks and plays very good. So hopefully you'll get this done and have a lot of success with it. So my initial impression on this, quite good. I enjoyed it a lot. This, though, I didn't enjoy. This is Truxton Extreme, and Truxton's like a famous shoot 'em up. I think it was on I don't know, made by Sega, developed by Sega. Here I'm just running into stuff, running into upgrades. I just did not like. I just don't like this aspect ratio. When you have like a top-down shooter, normally they're in. Basically, the aspect ratio is like turn 90 degrees. It's longer than it is wide. And in this, you have, it's wider than it is long. And when you have an aspect ratio like this with a top-down shooter, it just doesn't work. You have so much space to move in. And so much of this gameplay, you'll see me is like moving back and forth so much. It just ruins it. And this, right now, this isn't exciting. one enemy shooting one bullet. I know there's one shooting a big laser. Like a lot of the gameplay so far seems like how getting close enough to do damage to this while not getting hit. You're like, I have to get horizontally enough to actually shoot the enemy. Just the way this plays and feels, and even looks, the graphic style seems really boring. Just these very boring 3D models that don't really stand out. I mean, I don't think it can get 16 by 9. So this is, and you are, yeah, well, I'm not used to 9 by 16. 9 by 16 is like the standard for top-down shooters, or it's not really 9 by 16, but it was like, whatever, like 4 by 3 or something when it first started out. And then I forget what the older modern aspect ratios are. But, it's always been the long ways. I guess it would be 4 by 3, I think, was the older monitors. Or even, I think someone might have been, I don't think they were exactly square, but that's just the way they were. And when you change, the aspect ratio makes a lot of difference in how these games play. It really does. Like, even when I was making that, remember that, like, Java script shoot 'em up I made using Grok? The second you change the aspect ratio, the bullets have just the way it changes the bullets and how they interact, like how much reaction time you have, the space, how it changes the space. It's remarkably different. It's hard to explain, but like if you try playing it wide or even like square, and then you change it to long, it just the feel of the game immediately changes. And it's far better. Because, like, look how much space there is. Like, it's not just one screen. And then it's like these things pop in out of nowhere and just instantly kill you with very little time to react. To the point where, like, again, like the way these things are shooting, it's like the only way to kill them is to get close enough to these lasers that you can shoot them without getting shot. It's just a weird way to do it, to kill enemies. With like a shoot 'em up, I want to be dodging in between bullets, sort of like micro dodging in between bullets to kill these enemies. Not trying to edge up to the side of them. No, this was fine, but it just doesn't work. It just does not feel right. Did not like Trucks and Extreme. Not a great demo. Not going to buy it. I'm sure they're going to ask way too much for what this game is. Comparatively, when like one guy is making a game that looks like this, compared to like something like Blaze of Storm, one guy making it, it's probably going to be half the price of what this is, and not going to have a shitload of DLC or some other bullshit. And it's in a good aspect ratio. Like, as you can see, this is square, basically. And it works a lot better.
Great.
This is someone that like actually understands what the genre is. This is like seems like a company that like 16 by 9 is the standard screen size, so we need to make something in the standard screen size or it's going to weird people out. Is essentially what it seems like they were thinking. Have you played Under Defeat? I haven't yet. It's on my wish list. I think I actually have it bought, but I just haven't gotten around to playing it yet. Yeah, I do have Under Defeat. I bought it on sale. I need to play it at some point. I've heard good things about it, but it's in the backlog now, so who knows? I still need to beat like Bolt Gun. Me and my brothers have been playing Elden Ring Night Rain a lot. I haven't played Mario Kart yet. I've yet to play a game on my Switch 2. I need to go play a game on my $500 system I bought. It's embarrassing. So it's just there's a lot of like I said, gaming's not dead. There's way too many games for a normal person to play at the moment. But let's move on. This is a 2D shooter. Again, I think they have an interesting marketing idea. Let's go with some more of a erotic art style. Though I did not like this game all that much. So I decided to go with the one with the striped swimsuit. It's just like the background music in this is kind of grating. I like rock music, but this just came off as a little grating. So if you looked here, I paused the game. This green dot is your hitbox. You have a really small hitbox, so traditional bullet hell style hitbox, but it's so small and it just blends into it gets so hard to understand. I don't know, maybe it's just the rate this thing's moving at, the frame rate. I just cannot follow where my hitbox is on the style type of game. The sprite is so large, it's really hard to track without paying really close attention to the hitbox. Got some enemies, not a lot. Like this is another game I don't think you can change the difficulty on to make it harder. So like just there's a lot of downtime in between these enemies. Playing through it the second time, kind of like whatever. And the way like shooting this enemy, you're hitting the ground here is something I don't quite like. Like they have, for some reason they have terrain built into it that blocks your bullets. I'm not crazy about that. Everything about it seems kind of cheap. It's Green Hill Zone. It looks like Green Hill Zone. It's not bad. It's not like super offensive. Though this boss sucks. When I looked at, all right, so this is the boss, which is giant tits. I mean, nice design on that, I guess. Like this was on their cover, so they're clearly trying to use this to advertise their game, but this pattern sucks. It's super slow. It is super easy to dodge. This is supposed to be a boss. Like, oh, let me slightly move up and down to avoid all of these bullets. I guess this is the first boss, but still, if the first boss is boring, do I have hope for the second? And then, this is pretty easy, whatever. It doesn't have a health bar, as far as I know, which is kind of weird. And I'm just moving up and down with these slowly moving bullets. So here's some homing bullets. And then this one isn't that bad either. Though this, and then it goes insane. The last pattern is this shit, which is like, again, extremely hard to dodge. Maybe you can bomb through it. But why? It's so schizophrenic. It's so schizophrenic. Like everything else was like insanely easy. Then like, now we're gonna have like this insanely dense pattern here at the very end. Enjoy that. Like, oh well, that's fun. I guess if I moved back the way it's like opening up, I probably could have dodged it, but. Then they have this weird slot machine where I'm supposed to like... The stage was 3 minutes. Me using the slot machine was another minute. It's annoying. I don't know what I won from this. But I wasn't a huge fan of this game. It did not seem... I mean, interesting visuals. I like the style. But the actual gameplay of it does not seem that good. Like I said, everything seems kind of cheap. a little bit amateur in terms of the bullet patterns and stuff. Again, I don't get why everything else is like super easy, and then all of a sudden it's just an insanely dense pattern. Like when I was experimenting in the sort of like rock bullet patterns, you could like do different settings, like where you turn up the and you change stuff from like a 3 to a 4. It just increases the density. The number went up like one too many, or it just needs to be a bit faster, or you need to sort of mix in different patterns to have a little bit of randomness, so you have to dodge. Yeah, you're supposed to watch the jiggle fizz, I guess. So everything about this game just seemed kind of meh, a little bit low quality. So not a huge fan of this, but this game I really liked. I love the music and the way this looks. This is Platypus. I think it's called Platypus League Day. Let me get it. Yeah. This is Platypus reclayed. Looks really good. I love that clay style that they put it in. As far as like it's a horizontal shooter, which isn't my favorite, but still a lot of fun. It almost seems a little too easy. I didn't play on extreme, but this is like hard. Even that seemed kind of. This is the first stage though, but at least it has enough bullets that it's not like super boring. I don't know what the collecting the fruit does, but I feel compelled to collect it. You got different the power-ups only last for a limited amount of time. It's interesting. You have to get them, and the way you can shoot them, like I shot it and it unlocked this is like a special power-up. The cheese, it seems a little more powerful than the normal wide shot, but it's hard to manage it. Like I'm gonna run out, since I didn't pick up that power up, I'm gonna run out of power ups soon after this. I wanted to hold on to my cheese upgrade, but I was able to get the auto cannon too. It looks really nice. I really like the way it looks. So this was enjoyable. I definitely look forward to playing this. I'll probably buy this as a new when it comes out, assuming it's not like ridiculously expensive. Like the way this like shoots out, but because they're rotating, it definitely gives you a different bullet pattern. So it's pretty challenging. I like the way they explode it. And they also like the way they get damaged as you shoot them. It's another good touch. Like there's a lot of nice touches on it. And it just has this like little evaluation screen. And then you move on. Though the way they do give a lot of like credits. So like I die a few times, I'd almost always stay at like 4 credits. Or 4 lives. But I assume it gets harder. Usually a lot of these games, once you hit the 3rd stage is when it gets really tough. I like the auto. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. And I'll end here. My last demo of the day is a game called Urban Seed. When I was looking through these demos, I saw this and it looked like so trash. Like this is like Flash game level trash. I don't know if there are probably people now that are too young to have that they missed the glory of what was Newgrounds.com. This just looks so bad. It's so funny. There's so many people making these like games that look like they took a lot of effort at trying to get noticed, and then you just have like this guy, which appears to be a foreigner. Not an American. Making a game, and well, the game looks bad. It looks really bad. You get these exciting dodge trees. The shooting, you have two weapons that you can sort of alternate the shots. You can upgrade them too. There's an upgrade system. And look at the visuals. Whew. I wonder if he did them himself or he had an AI make them. I don't know. You have to require some dodging here. It can be challenging in a way, in the fact that I don't know where my hitbox begins and ends. I'm fighting for my life here. It's moving forward too. Oh my god. The game itself is like, I played it for the lulz, essentially. It looks awful. It plays awful. If you can get caught and smashed on the terrain and you die. They even in game they have a lore explanation that the wind pushes you and you can't move backwards, which is why it's an auto scroller. I don't understand why you'd ever need to make a lore explanation of why your game's an auto scroller, but whatever. You have this terrain that blocks your shots constantly. That's a lot of fun. Everything about this is just dumb. But hey, these are the fun demos you can play. I really wonder what in the world this guy's going to try and charge for this game. Because really any amount of money is too much. Now that's Urban Seed if you're interested in playing this demo. I didn't beat the demo. There's a second boss, which is like this big goblin that's playing hopscotch. I couldn't beat him, and I didn't feel like trying to beat him. So it beat me. It's hard enough that I can't complete it. So that's Urban Seed. But that's it for the episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Lots of demos out there to play if you're interested in playing some Next Fest demos. I think it's still going on. It was going on at least last week. Let's see. Hopefully it didn't. Hopefully it isn't over. Let's see. Do we have news? I think Next Fest is still going on. You can play it. It is kind of cool the way they release a lot of demos. You can try it because I did download some other ones that I didn't get to play. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound looks like it's a lot of fun. That Mina the Hollower looks fun too. This Baki Hanma Blood Arena is like it's a shooter, or no, it's a Punch Out style game. Looked interesting. Mina the Outrider I wanted to try. I'll probably try these and cover them on the next episode. But for now, we must go. Let me see. Are we doing a post Zero Jack? Are you still here, or are we taking off this week? Let me double check on that before I try and redirect. I don't know. It's not a name. I have Tropico 6 to play, so no time for new games. That's good. Now we'll skip this week. Okay. So I won't be redirecting to anything. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hope it's good. And we'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And like I said, enjoy.